All right. Hey, Joseph, how are you?
Well, like I usually say, remember, things could always be better, but they could often be worse. But today I'm regretting not having taken a nap this afternoon. So
Well, we'll try to get through the interview with the little as pain as possible.
I'm sure it'll go okay. Yeah.
Thank you for coming on the show. It's nice to have you here. As we were talking about before we got on, uh, that both of us were involved in some capacity in music in the late 70s, early 80s. I also saw in there that your father was the founder of the Polka Kings. Is that right?
Yeah. There's been seemingly various variations of that name over the years, but yeah, as far as I know, they were the original ones to use that, at least, uh, recorded materials wise. And yeah, they were pretty big deal. They did three albums. You could still find them out there today, and they were they used to tour all through the northeastern states. So it was rather interesting. And so there, I obviously got my creative gene through him because my father's father also had a polka band. So I don't know if it goes further back than that, even. So yeah, I dabbled in music in the late '70s, early '80s, but it's not like it is today. I mean, you're messing with tape and looping and it was more of a technical chore, let's just say, back then, right?
Well, back then, it was pretty straightforward in the sense that you needed to just get out and play. And you had to be good. You had to have chops, you had to have talent, and you had to have the perseverance to load your stuff into the van and go on to the next city. Now, all of that can be done online, and a lot of the recording aspects of it has been taken over by sampling and computers, and which there's good and bad to it, but what I think has happened is that the level of talent has been, I don't know, diminished by the level of proficiency at being a computer whiz. In other words, you can be less than a great singer or less than a great guitar player, but if you know how to do it on the computer, it might sound all right. But
Yeah, you
if you got out there live, you couldn't do it, you
yeah, you
know?
can't manipulate it, right?
Right.
Well, actually, with the computers, it might be noticeable though.
Well, that's true. So, do you play polka music, or what kind of music do you play?
No. I kind of wrote country popish kind of things. Uh, I still have a tape of it all around here somewhere, but uh, I haven't been able to find it. And even if I did, I didn't consider it really quality enough to be able to digitize it today to make it available. Uh, I was more interested in the fun aspects of the recording part and the writing part. I had hoped maybe kind of that the writing could lead to something, but I guess one would say it actually did. I just pivoted uh, to other types of writing and stories. I hold several dozen copyrights, including some musical things, short stories, a few novels, a radio play. So that just kind of replaced the music. It was a an easier path to go down.
Did your father encourage your musical endeavors?
Yeah, to whatever degree, but I was into hockey. I played hockey all the way through high school, so it, it was kind of more of a sports interest uh, that consumed the majority of my time. And then when that ended, then kind of tried to pick up the music a bit more seriously. But at that point, then it's a little late. Your learning curve time is, I shouldn't say gone. I mean, some people pick up musical way later in life, but for me, that train kind of just left the station. But again, I did write, I did record. I mean, it's a great personal accomplishment that I look back on that, I have great fondness for. It's like the Bruce Springsteen song, right? Glory Days. It's generally about sports, and but everybody's sense of glory days of the good old days, and some things they remember with fondness are different, and in fact I kind of used a sports theme. There's a baseball thread through my book Terror Strikes Coming Soon to a City Near You, and it may seem weird to some that baseball would have anything to do with terrorism, and I'm certainly not going to give any spoilers away to the whole thread through the whole book. But I will say that it's not a big spoiler to remind people, remember that the nation kind of came back together and resumed some sense of normalcy and passing of the paranoia that we were going to be immediately hit again after 9/11 when George W. Bush threw out the first pitch at the Yankees game. So there's kind of that inexplicable tie. So I expanded on the baseball tie and terrorism as kind of a, not a spin-off, but an expansion of that theme throughout my book.
Have you been making a living as a writer after the music, or what have you been doing for the last 40 years?
Actually, I've been on Social Security disability actually since 2004, but I was in information technology most of that time, and that's where kind of I said I needed a nap today. That's part of the issues with information technology was, and why I'm on disability today is sporadic and erratic sleeping patterns, because I was dealing with East Coast and West Coast. So I'd have calls at 8, 9, 10 o'clock Eastern time during the night from the Eastern Coast, and I'd be woken up at 1, 2, 3 in the morning from the West Coast calls, and eventually the body says, "Nuh-uh, we're not going to do this. You're going to sleep. We're shutting down."
Yeah, it can be a little bit crazy. I always could never imagine those people that work swing shifts, where you'd work half the day, then you go back and you'd have a little time off, then you'd come back again. I couldn't do that. It's like I do my work one set time period, and that's it. Then I've got to be on to something else.
Yeah, it takes unique type of person, and you have to almost have a unique, almost a complete lack of circadian rhythm.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I agree. So your book Terror Strikes, is this your first published novel, or do you have other work out there?
I have other work, but it was on like a local basis. Terror Strikes Coming Soon to a City Near You is my first internationally published piece, and what's really currently available out there. But I also have another book that hopefully will be coming out on December 15th, right before Christmas, called How to Write a Book and Get It Published. I try to take my experience from Terror Strikes Coming Soon to a City Near You, creation, development, publishing, and after marketing phases, because I know there's a lot of people who like writing and have a book in them. They just don't really know what to do or where to start or where to go. And I can help them to take that step of being a published author, something that maybe someone in your audience is dreamt of doing. And And as well as, like I say, in How to Write a Book and Get It Published, I recommend you buy Terror Strikes Coming Soon to a City Near You also, because we follow Martin, who's a Detroit newspaperman, though this is an internationally flavored book because there's a chapter on Toronto, Ontario, Canada, London, England, Madrid, Spain, and Tokyo, Japan. Terrorism is not just a 9/11 thing, obviously, so I encompassed all that in there. But we follow Martin, who's a newspaperman who decides he's going to write a book on terrorism. So that's kind of the book within the book, and we follow him. So you kind of even get hints, tips, tricks, and techniques by reading Terror Strikes that you also get. And by reading Terror Strikes, you'll see how I put practical application to the hints, tips, and techniques and tricks in how to write a book and get it published.
Oh,
You know
I
what
see.
I mean?
Okay, yeah.
You could see the practical application.
Okay, did you self-publish the book, or did you go through a traditional publisher?
Yeah, I went through, I make the distinction that there's self-publishing and what I call assisted publishing. To me, they're not all created equal, although they're all considered self-publishing. But yeah, I went with one of the higher end, what I call assisted publishing firms, because today the chances of anyone getting signed with the big publishers, unless if you've got laid out a trilogy or beyond, that they know they've got a long-term opportunity return on what they're working with you with, your chances are slim. They stick with the names they have signed, the names you know. But remember, like I always say, don't let that stop you. J.K. Rowling, Patterson, Clancy, King, they were all unknown people at one time too.
Sure they were. Yeah, absolutely.
And I like to say some of the best stories you'll ever read are from people that would be considered, quote, unknown, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Joseph, we got just about 1 minute left, and I want to just make sure we get. Okay, so the book Terror Strikes, coming soon to a city near you. It is out and available now?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely, yep.
And last question is, do you have a website you want to give out?
Yeah, I have two. I have josephmlenard.us. Now, it's not Lenard. It looks like Lenard. It's Lenard, but no O. So josephmlenard.us. And I also have a book dedicated site, terrorstrikes.info.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. It was nice meeting you, nice chatting with you. Best of luck with the book. How long has the book been out?
It actually came out in April 15th of this year. So, yeah, it's been out for a while. Obviously, now we're in December. So, we're in the Christmas selling mode. If you're in the United States, rather than just buy any random book off Amazon, you could go to terrorstrikes.info and buy direct a personalized autographed copy for an avid reader on your gift giving list.
Okay, great. And best of luck with your book.
Thank you for having me. I greatly appreciate it.